My name is Shania, 25 years old. In the heart of Nashville, a single line of strangers waits for magic. I stood among them, craving an escape from my quiet world. What began as an ordinary cue for a concert became the prologue to everything. The Tennessee sun pressed down like a hot iron as I shuffled forward in the endless line, sweat trickling down my neck. My feet ached in worn-out boots, and frustration gnawed at me. The venue doors remained shut, delayed by some unseen chaos inside. People grumbled, checking watches, radiating impatience that thickened the air. Then, a voice cut through the restlessness. Warm, rich, and effortless. A man behind me sang softly, a classic country tune about lost highways and second chances. His melody floated above the crowd, smooth as Tennessee whiskey. I turned, catching his profile, tousled brown hair, eyes shut as he strummed an invisible guitar, lost in the song. He opened his eyes, sensing my gaze. A faint smile touched his lips, not missing a note. Something fluttered in my chest, unfamiliar and urgent. The heat suddenly felt less oppressive, the line less like a cage. I faced forward again, but his voice wrapped around me, stitching calm into my frayed nerves. Raindrops splattered without warning, a sudden Nashville downpour. Umbrellas snapped open, but he kept singing, louder now, laughing as water slicked his hair. His joy was contagious. I fumbled with my own umbrella, shielding us both when he stepped closer. Our arms brushed, sparking a current that had nothing to do with the storm. The doors finally groaned open. We surged inside, the crowd separating us until I felt a gentle tug on my sleeve. He'd found me in the dimness, his hand lingering for a breath before pointing to a spot near the stage. We stood shoulder to shoulder as the first chords roared, the bass vibrating through our bones. He didn't speak, but his presence spoke volumes, leaning in when the music swelled, his shoulder solid against mine when the crowd pushed. In the strobe lights, his eyes held mine, and the concert faded. It was just the two of us in a sea of noise, a silent conversation unfolding. After the encore, we spilled into the neon-lit street. He walked me to my car, rain still misting the city. Under a flickering street lamp, he wrote his number on my wrist with a borrowed pen. His fingers trembled slightly. Mine did too. Weeks passed in a blur of late-night texts, shared playlists, and coffee dates at cramped diners. His name was Matt, a part-time musician chasing big dreams. I learned the curve of his smile, the way he hummed when thinking, the scar above his eyebrow from a childhood mishap. One evening, he played me a new song on his porch, a ballad about a serendipitous downpour and a girl with an umbrella. My throat tightened. The lyrics were our story, raw and tender. He stopped mid-chorus, looking terrified. He confessed he'd been offered a tour 6 months on the road, a break he'd craved for years. My heart sank. I braced for goodbye, already mourning the silence he'd leave behind. On the day he was to leave, I found him on my doorstep, luggage nowhere in sight. His eyes were fierce. I turned it down, he said, voice rough. The best songs aren't written about places. They're written about people who change your tune. He dropped to one knee, pulling a small box from his pocket. Inside lay not a ring, but a polished guitar pick engraved with coordinates, the exact spot in that rain-soaked line where we met. Stay in my lyrics forever, he whispered. The city's distant music swelled as I pulled him close, our beginning written in the unlikemaddest of verses. The months after Matt's unexpected proposal weren't filled with grand gestures. but with the quiet symphony of building a shared life. We found a small apartment above a blues bar in East Nashville, its walls absorbing the muffled thrum of music from below like a heartbeat. Mornings smelled of strong coffee and the faint scent of guitar polish. Evenings were spent with Matt composing melodies at the kitchen table while I sketched designs for a fledgling stationery business. Inspired by song lyrics. The engraved guitar pick hung on a Matt Kate chain round my neck, a constant, cool reminder against my skin of that rain-drenched beginning. Life settled into a rhythm sweeter than any ballad. Matt didn't chase the distant roar of stadium crowds. Instead, he poured his soul into local gigs, smoky bars, intimate listening rooms, even street corners where tourists would toss coins into his open guitar case. His songs evolved, weaving stories not just of longing highways, but of shared sunrises, the clatter of dishes in our tiny kitchen, and the specific way city light fell across my sleeping face. He found his audience, smaller but fiercely loyal, captivated by the raw honesty blooming in his music hut. Our wedding was as unpretentious as our meeting. We exchanged vows barefoot under the sprawling oak tree in Centennial Park, surrounded only by a handful of friends who'd witnessed our unlikely spark catch fire. Matt didn't sing a traditional song. Instead, he played the melody he decomposed that rainy night waiting for the concert doors to open, the one he de-hummed softly, the one that first wrapped around my restless heart. He slipped the guitar pick pendant onto my finger beside a simple band, its engraved coordinates a silent promise etched in metal. Years flowed like the Cumberland River. My stationery business blossomed, its designs featuring snippets of Matt's lyrics intertwined with Matt Kate line art. He released an album titled The Line, its cover a blurred photograph of rain-slick pavement under neon lights. It wasn't a chart topper, but it resonated. People wrote to him, sharing stories of their own serendipitous encounters, finding solace or joy in his music about finding home in a person, not a place. One crisp autumn evening, Matt had a headline slot at a revered, intimate venue downtown, the kind we'd dreamed of attending years ago. Nerves fluttered in my stomach as I watched him tune his guitar backstage, the pendant warm against my collarbone. The air crackled with anticipation as he walked onto the dimly lit stage, the spotlight catching the silver threads just beginning to appear at his temples. The crowd hushed. He played his set, the familiar songs now anthems of our shared history. Then, as the final notes of his most popular song faded, he paused. A different kind of quiet settled over the room. He adjusted the microphone, his gaze finding mine in the darkness near the back. "This one," he said, his voice rougher with emotion, "isn't on any album. It's brand new. For the woman who held an umbrella over a stranger singing in the rain and never really put it down." The first chords were achingly tender, a melody that felt like sunlight after a storm, like the comfort of worn boots, like the quiet certainty of coming home. The lyrics painted the ordinary magic of our life, the shared coffee mugs, the arguments over burnt toast, the way we still reached for each other's hands instinctively in a crowd. He sang of the guitar pick that wasn't a ring, but a compass pointing forever to the moment everything changed. Tears blurred my vision as the pure, unfiltered love in his voice washed over the room. A love song built not on grand promises, but on 1,000 small, steadfast choices. He finished, the last note hanging in the breathless silence before the eruption of applause. But Matt wasn't looking at the cheering crowd. His eyes remained locked on mine across the smoky room. He raised his hand, not in a wave, but with his palm facing me, resting in its center, catching the stage light, was a single, polished guitar pick. It wasn't the original that was safe at home. This was new, gleaming, and engraved on its surface, clear even from my distance, were not coordinates, but just simple words, always you. The roar of the crowd faded into a distant hum. Time seemed to slow, folding in on itself. I wasn't in a crowded venue. I was back on that rain-slicked Nashville sidewalk, heart pounding as a stranger's voice offered unexpected shelter in a storm. I saw the nervous scrawl of his number on my wrist, felt the vibration of that first concert pulsing through us, remembered the terrifying joy when he chose us over the open road. Every shared sunrise, every whispered worry, every burst of laughter echoed in the space between us, now condensed into the profound understanding in his eyes as he held out that small piece of plastic, engraved with the only truth that ever truly mattered. Later, walking home under the familiar glow of neon signs reflecting on wet pavement, his hand firmly in mine, the new pick nestled safely in my pocket beside the pendant, I knew the most romantic ending wasn't a dramatic climax. It was this quiet certainty, this unshakable harmony built note by note, choice by choice, in the beautiful, ordinary symphony of a life chosen together every single day. The music of the city swirled around us, but the sweetest song was the steady rhythm of our footsteps, side by side, forever finding our way back to the line that started it all.